C is in Charlie, just west of Hancock, before you get to the county line. Before the county, in fact, almost right on the county line. Got a sign out there and everything like that. So that's right.
County board tonight, I got stuff to do.
He's good.
Yeah, it's pretty, there's nothing on the agenda that interested me.
Yeah.
Did a good job.
Pretty chauvinistic thing.
Hi, Joe.
He's not the cheapest guy and he's not the most expensive guy. You know, his work is good and you pay for what you get. That's the way I've always believed.
Go ahead and give me a hint.
He's on some committee, so forth.
He's sitting there,
Getting better or are they getting worse?
You need a couple.
I read number one.
Okay.
and the other guy, I don't know. Nathaniel is here. And
I heard about it, but
$5 if I read them aloud.
I can't think of it. Maybe Rebecca, maybe.
Who's gonna pay you?
Why don't you
Who's
wanna
gonna
go and
pay you
call
to
her?
read them? Fred? No, I haven't seen them.
Very naughty.
Are they?
I would,
She's a good man, does a good job for us.
she's old enough to read.
joke. Let's see. Appointment to bring.
She has new glasses, so she usually feels good.
Ah,
Hi, Mark. How are you?
but did you read Fred's jokes?
Some of them. I haven't smacked him yet. I'll wait till after the meeting. I'll give
Yeah, give me a shot.
Yep. 6:50.
Oh God, is that hysterical? Where does he find these things? You've been on the internet again, haven't
Are
you?
you kidding me? Wrote them.
Day of February. February 29th this year.
Next Tuesday, I gotta go to the airport in Milwaukee. Yeah, we back to Arizona.
Oh, jeez.
But they live there.
That is a very naughty person. Hi, Larry.
Bids on the other house?
He sold one in Arizona. Yeah. Don't know if he got any bids on, he's trying to sell them both here.
we'll call this meeting of the Waushara County Board of Supervisors to order, and we'll start with roll call.
Mrs. Krentz.
Here.
Mr. Tim.
Here.
Mr. Piaski.
Here.
Mr. Weddy.
Here.
Mr. Downey.
Here.
Mr. Eckstein.
Here.
Mrs. Plata.
Here.
Mr. Weiss. Mr. Gellerup.
Here?
Mr. Crawford.
Here.
Mr. Kirschner.
Here.
Now we'll stand for silent prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, it's our public comments, and we have one person registered tonight, and that's Jim Cottonson from the Fremont. You can go right up here by Jim, by the microphone.
Thank you. I just wanted to give a brief report on my sanitary system that I was required to put in, and I would like the board to consider that Waushara County is not particularly affluent, although some people have a little extra. A lot of us don't. System that I put in was in excess of the state requirements, which would have allowed me a holding tank. Asked the plumbers about it, $5,000 to $7,000. The system I ended up with, meeting Waushara County code, cost me right around $20,000. I could use that extra $14,000 for a good lot of things, and I've got an idea that there are probably other people very likely not in as good a situation as I am in, that will be called upon to part with a lot of money because our code is in excess of what the state requires. And I would ask your consideration for the benefit of who knows how many people in the county. There may be parts of the code not having to do with sanitary systems that also are in excess of what the state requires. We have to be very careful in these times. Some of these things did have grant monies at one point in time that were fairly generous, and we all know how generous the state has become. We can't count on them, and please don't bleed us any harder than you have to. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We have an agenda. Sir? Yes. You have to sign up for public comment and bring them up here. We have this one session here. Okay, go ahead. And you have 3 minutes. Sure, we have it registered then. Okay. This is Terry Tinkle, and go ahead, Terry.
Thank you. I am a resident of the county and also a county employee. A group of employees has asked me to read a statement to you as the county board. To whom it may concern, recently when the county board approved the new personnel policy, apparently a couple of board members let it be known that the changes might not have been so drastic if any employees would have come forward and voiced concerns. We, the undersigned, are sending this letter to let you know we did voice concern in a couple of ways. First, our union president, Terry Tinkle, requested 4 different times that the board, Deb Behringer, and workers avoid the top-down, mean-spirited approach taken in some other counties after Walker's Act 10 and meet and confer as we've done in the past. He encouraged a shared vision and a solution-oriented dialogue to solve problems and resolve issues. At first, he was told we can't do that, and eventually was told it ain't going to happen. A second attempt to appropriately voice our concerns was made when several employees agreed to participate in a focus group discussing the seeming top-down language and sweeping changes being made to the personnel policy. Trying to work through the focus group, workers in the group made suggestions for language that indicated a respect and valuing of employees, that funeral leave be maintained, and that earned time off be at least 7 days. These workers also suggested that they would empty their comp time twice a year to alleviate the end-of-the-year glut identified as problematic. However, the workers were not happy with the amount of banked comp time allowed being reduced from 40 hours to 24. Workers also agreed to the policy of ETO not having a payout of unused time. However, workers did request they be able to save a minimum of 200 hours, not the 48 as proposed. Finally, these workers agreed without comment to the increase in the insurance deductible. The workers did, however, question the 2-tiered employment model the county seems to be espousing. In closing, we would like the county board to know that although we were told that we are respected for the work we do on behalf of the county and its clients, those words don't ring true when we receive an approximate 10 to 12% cut in potential take-home pay. Our input is not relayed to the total county board, and there is a choice by the board, as identified by Deb Behringer, to not work together. We as workers take our responsibilities seriously. We as workers believe we contribute greatly to our county's common welfare, and we as workers ask the board to carefully consider our request for a mutually respectful team effort in accomplishing the shared vision of meeting the county's needs. And the assigned signatures are on the bottom here. I'd like to leave the letter with somebody if I could.
Sure, Terry, you can bring it up here. And thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Okay, now we have the agenda. We need a motion to approve it.
Motion to approve.
Donna Claudia, second by Larry Crawford. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. Minutes of our prior meeting, how do
I
you
would
find?
move to approve them.
Motion by Dennis Weddy. Do we have a second to the
I
minute?
second that motion.
Fred Gallerup. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's been approved. Now we'll get our report from Ruth.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The biggest change this month is that we've gone live with our electronic door system. I hope you all came in the proper door. You will no longer be able to access this building after 4:30 except through the elevator door, or door H as it's labeled. That will be the only door that is open for any meetings that are held in this building after hours. So please remember that, and anyone who's not on the county board, remind them of that when they're coming so they're not walking all around trying to get into the building. The bid documents are being prepared for the work release remodel. The architect met with Glenn Johnson and Randy, as well as Scott and myself, regarding some of the different changes, and so they're working on the designs and getting all of that information ready. The frequency incompatibility issue that we talked about last month with the towers between the county's equipment and the state equipment has been resolved to a tolerable risk. We were not able to eliminate all risk, but basically when we were sitting in the meeting, what needs to happen for there to be a problem, and this problem will only impact the Wautoma Tower, it won't impact the other 5 towers in our system, is that there needs to be multiple things all sending out signals at the exact same time that don't work with each other. So there's this chart with these different frequencies, and so if DNR Brown and Washera Fire and State Wiscom 1 and something else are all going at the same time, there might be some static. Might be, might not be, we don't know. But if our signal is compromised at the Wautoma site, our signals will be picked up by one of our other towers and transmitted. So we should still have communication throughout the whole process, and it should work out just fine. The old tower in Plainfield has been taken down, is now at the highway shop, and is going online for bids to be sold. The tower at the Sheriff's Department that will be coming down will also be sold once that's down. So the generators in Plainfield and Wautoma still need to be installed, but we are getting closer. The telephone system, we still haven't changed over to 911, but the fax machine issue has been fixed. So we are moving forward on that as well. And then Spillman, we are still working on the mobile units for the squad cars. Right now my understanding is 2 out of the 3 components work, but we're having problems interfacing with State Patrol. So we're trying to get that bug worked out, and then all of the villages and municipalities that have signed up will get their units and be on the same system too. And it's my understanding that as of today, everyone except the city of Wautoma and the village of Hancock will be joining us on Spillman, and we'll all be using the same record system. So hopefully that will get done in the near future.
Thank you, Ruth. Now we have some presentations, which started last month, but it didn't work out. And Patrick Nearing and Judy Downey, and I see Linda Frudenthal's name is on there, but Linda isn't here, is she? Okay. Go ahead, Patrick.
We're going to give you a talk about tourism. And part of this was put together by the Department of Tourism for Wisconsin. And part of it's from what we've been working on here in Washera County. And Judy and I are going to talk about it. So this is the power of tourism. Uh-oh. Guess this won't work. So what we're going to be talking about is tourism as a business tool, tourism's impact on the state economy and on Washera, revenue, employment, tourism and marketing, and a breakdown of tourism by industry. and then traveling, spending, when and where. So if we look at tourism as a business tool, looking at spending of dollars in travel expenditures in 2000 to 2010, it's been going up. It had a dip, of course, in 2009, having to do with the economy, but as 2010 shows that dip was only temporary, and it seems to be climbing up again. In Wisconsin, tourism accounts for about $3 billion in expenditures in the state. Those economic impact of travelers has an impact on. They spend money on car rental and RVs and gas to get to places. From there, they spend money on food and lodging, and those people who then are paid through the gas stations and the lodging facilities then spend money in other parts of the county, and all of that has a bigger impact on our community, and those dollars kind of circulate within our economy in Wisconsin and in Waushara County. So tourism's impact on revenue is $526 billion. That's direct spending on leisure travel in the U.S. by domestic and international travelers. Of that, 1.4 billion is what Wisconsin travelers spend. 662 million is what the local government revenue generated by travelers spending in our state. And $1,000 is the taxes per household if that tourism were not a part of our state. People would be paying an extra $2,000 on average for their household in taxes. So looking at Waushara County, tourism accounts for $63 million in expenditures in 2010. So people who came to the area spent a considerable amount of money in our county. Tourism isn't just nice to have. It's kind of a need to have. Local governments and the state depend on that for revenue for infrastructure, education, and care for the elderly. Tourism money, the revenue from tourism is spent for a number of different things. That accounts for some of our sales tax that we have in Waushara County, and so that has an impact on our communities. Tourism has a hand in a lot of the important sectors in the state's economy. And tourism impact on employment, we have 260,000 is the number of Wisconsin residents whose jobs rely on tourism industry. And we'll give you a number for Waushara County shortly. That's 1 in 13 jobs supported by travel in Wisconsin. And tourism accounts for 1,488 full-time jobs in Waushara County. So that might be the number of part-time jobs, so the number of actual jobs might be more than that, but if you took them into the full-time equivalent, they're about 1,488. So if we look at Waushara County, we have 228 businesses that are directly impacted by tourism in the county. Those are your entertainment places, your food and lodging places, and then also some of the retail that we have in the county, the grocery stores, the gas stations, the gift and specialty items that we have for sale. A lot of that has their businesses are impacted by tourism. So of the businesses that we have 2,713 businesses in the county in 2007. 8% of those were impacted by tourism. If we look at the employers in the county, the other included sole proprietors and employers. This is just looking at employers. 122 of our employers are directly impacted by tourism. 17% of our employers, and we have 684 employers in 2007. And if we look at the number of jobs, that's people employed by someone other than themselves. We have 6,500 jobs in the county. 1,286 of those jobs are in tourism impacted businesses, and that's 19% of our private sector jobs that we have in the county. So tourism is an important part of our working force, and it's critical in different sectors, both retail and then also for the entertainment and travel and other related industries. And tourism, even though it's kind of oftentimes an introductory type of job, it can be a stepping stone into a longer career, in that it teaches work skills and those kind of soft skills that employers are looking for in our county. And tourism marketing is a symbiotic relationship. That is that tourism and marketing go together, and you can have one without the other, but tourism is directly affected by marketing, and without marketing, there's a big impact on it. So the return on the state's investment into and local dollars in marketing is about 7 to 1. So every dollar that's spent, there's $7 in return. It amounts to about $32 million. Is an amount generated for local communities through GEM grants, which are grants provided by the state of Wisconsin. %36 of travelers have a destination they travel to every year, and that is even greater for Waushara County. Returning guests and visitors come here for a number of different reasons: business, leisure, tours, weddings, sports, family activities. So we did a tourism study in 2010 of what during the summertime of what visitors were looking for. We found that our major visiting demographic is 30 to 60-year-olds, men and women, but not necessarily children. They're the families that have older kids, and they may leave them at home, and then they come here for their relaxation. And that might be a little bit different than what we see as our demographics in the county, but that's where our visitors are coming from. Majority of our local visitors and non-local visitors are those that are coming here not because they have a cabin or something. They're coming for other tourism reasons. Are repeat visitors, and they come here for the visitor experience. They like the food and dining, lake-related activities, shopping, fishing, and hunting that we have here in our county. Tourism creates marketing, and marketing creates tourism because they're tied together. And marketing differentiates us from our competition, so that's what the importance of marketing. And it drives awareness, but it also puts tourism on the minds of the people who are receiving that marketing. And marketing is a necessity. The state of Colorado made a mistake. For 7 years, they took a break on doing any kind of marketing. They saw a 30% drop in their share of the U.S. travel market share. It amounted to about $2 billion annually that the state of Colorado lost. And the conclusion of that was that even though people knew where Colorado was, not being reminded of reasons to go to Colorado was part of what drove it to be a situation where people forgot to go to Colorado. They went to other places instead. So if we look at tourism, what people come here for, pleasure and travel is 71% of it, what they spend their money on. 11% is for conferences or meetings. And then 18% is for business travel.
Is that a state?
That's the state statistics. Yeah, those are state statistics. The type of lodging they use is hotel, motel, restaurants, and bed and breakfasts. About half of them for the state. Camping accounts for about 5%. Cottages and condos, another 5%, and there were also a number of day visitors to the area. This is for the state of Wisconsin. We found something different for Waushara County in that the campgrounds have been more significant than the hotels and motels, and following the campgrounds is the cottages and rental property that we have in the county. So our accommodations are a little bit different than what you find for typical of Wisconsin. If you look at where people are spending their money, 30% of it's on shopping as they're here, 20% is on food, and this is for Wisconsin, 13% for lodging, transportation is 8%, and then some kind of recreation, the attending the events or the cost for attending the events is another 22%. The Marquette County to our south did a visitor survey in 2008, and they found that the size of a group that was visiting their county was 2.6 people. So there's about two and a half people, or so you see, they're not a lot of, they're couples, but they're not necessarily with their kids all the time, which we found with our survey that we did in 2010. They spent $92 if they were on average. If they were here for just the day, they spent $68 per person, and if they were here overnight, they spent $138. We look at where people spend their money in the season. Summer is the biggest one with 39% for Wisconsin. It's probably even larger for Waushara County. 24% in the fall, another 20% in the spring, and then 17% in the winter. This would be a map that shows there's been in Schurzburg County, and we're not at the bottom, and we're sort of in the middle of that for Wisconsin. About 85 million trips were taken to Wisconsin in 2010, predominantly from the Midwest, and 97% of all those people came from our neighboring states. If we look at what the Marquette found with their survey was that Milwaukee was a draw to the area, Chicago and Madison, the Fox Valley, and then Rockford, Illinois. And we found similar results when we looked at our 2010 study. We saw that in the Chicago area is a big draw, the Milwaukee area, and then the Fox Valley is the largest draw to Waushara County. So tourism is has been and will remain an industry. It's crucial to Wisconsin and also to Waushara County, and it brings people across, brings here for all the 4 seasons. Are there any questions?
I just wanted to make a point. First of all, I want to say thank you for letting us bring this to you. This is the statistics, but I have a couple other things I wanted to make a real quick point on. The state of Wisconsin has increased their tourism budget, which is very good because the other years they've dropped it down. This year they've increased it because they realize the importance of tourism, and it is a big business, and we've got to realize that. The other thing I'm excited about, they are reopening the visitor centers on the interstates, which they had closed. Now they're being reopened so we can get our information into that. And another point, we had a business after 5 tonight, and we had our former Allison Dairyland from 2010 there. She is with a media group called Flavorful Insight, and she is real excited about marketing Waushara County. And I think she can do a wonderful job working with the chamber. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we are going to be at the WBAY Travel and RV Show starting the 18th of this month. So we're getting the word out, but do remember, these are statistics, they did show you a lot, but remember, tourism is a big business, and I wanted the county board to be aware that it's a business we got to be aware of. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Judy? Now we're going to have Deb Pavla, our Department of Aging, and she's going to give us a kitchen update.
Hello. All right. Well, I stand here before you 1 week before we move into our new kitchen, and it was about a year ago, February 8th, 2011, that I came to the board and asked for, I guess, permission to proceed with building a centralized kitchen here in Wautoma. You did grant your trust in us to proceed with that project, and so I thought it appropriate to come back and just give you a quick update on where we stand and how we've done throughout the year. Like I said, we do plan on moving from the Hancock Kitchen to Wautoma next week. The move day is scheduled for Thursday, although from day to day that seems to be changing, and we just kind of roll with those changes as they come. Right now it looks like there will be a 2-day what we're calling a shutdown, where we won't be able to serve hot meals, but we will be serving frozen meals to those that need the meal instead. We wanted to pick a date for a ribbon cutting ceremony, although there won't be a big formal program involved with that. We did choose February 8th, 2012, seeing how it is the 1-year anniversary of the project. You are all invited to attend that if you like. However, it will be outside. It is wintertime, and there will be no seats. But if you do come on February 8th at 11:30, you'll be able to come in and see the kitchen for yourself, although you're always welcome to come at any time and take a look around. So next week is really going to be crunch week as far as trying to finalize everything, get all the equipment in, get everything hooked up, all the inspections to take place. And hopefully things will go well. We are planning on serving our first meal out of there on Monday, January 30th. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. But Bob from RJM assures us that we will have the keys on Tuesday, January 31st. So when I came here last year, we talked about a project that might cost anywhere between $378,000 and $453,000. The final numbers look right now like it will end somewhere in the $390,000 to $395,000 range. There's a few final bills coming in that we don't have the amounts on, so I can't give you the exact number. You did approve to us a $325,000 loan if we needed it for up to 40 years, interest-free, and we appreciate that. So I just wanted to talk just briefly about some of those expenses and how they're being paid for. I had said that we would be able to pay for the majority of the equipment and some of the other expenses. And with our restricted nutrition trust account, where we had quite a generous donation from Rex Hall from a number of years back, as well as donations from other nutrition program participants over about a 10-year period of time, we were able to pay for all of the new kitchen equipment. So all of that will be paid for. And then in addition, somewhere towards the beginning of December, maybe mid-December, the Hancock Community Center came and asked if we would be willing to leave behind a few more pieces of equipment. And so we went through that process of determining whether we could or should make that happen and what pieces they wanted left behind. In the end, we did come to an agreement. We will be leaving behind a number of pieces of equipment. It actually ended up costing us about $12,500 more to do so. But why we wanted to proceed with that is because we were then able to switch from electric to gas, and the savings over time will definitely pay off in the long run. The other reason that we wanted to do it was very important to myself as well as the Commission on Aging board that we tried to leave somewhat of a structure of a kitchen to the Hancock Community Center, because there was obviously a kitchen structure when we first moved in there 40 years ago. And so hopefully both parties will be happy. It's been somewhat like going through a divorce, but I think in the end both parties will be happy in that they have a lot of equipment that they can work with and market as commercial equipment, and we are able to then convert from electric to gas and be a little bit more efficient that way as well. So we also were able to absorb that additional expense of $12,500. And then throughout the year, we did a donation drive and some fundraising, and many of you here bought raffle tickets and cookies and soup and other items. And in total, we made just shy of $35,000 in fundraising and donations. Some of my favorite donations were, although all were appreciated, some of the favorite ones or the most special ones were those that were given in memory of a loved one. A couple of family members came in themselves wanting to make sure that we knew a little bit about the person that they were leaving the donation in memory of. We shared a few tears perhaps and a couple hugs, and it's a gift, of course, that in my opinion will keep giving for many, many years. But with that additional fundraising and the donations that we received, we will be able to pay for all of the architect fees, all of the permits, the surveys, gas hookup, fiber optic cable, all of those miscellaneous type expenses. And really what it leaves for us is a balance of about $240,000 that we would owe towards the total cost of the building. The actual building expense itself came in at $244,800. So $240,000, if you divide that out by 40 years, it's about $6,000 a year. And we think that we will be able to, we will make those payments, the $6,000 per year. And in addition to that, we think that we will continue our fundraising and be able to pay and contribute and pay down that expense much sooner than the 40 years. So I just want to emphasize then that every expense that has been tied to this kitchen project has been paid for with either donations, fundraising, program income of some kind. There has been no county levy attached to it. The additional $6,000 that we'll pay per year or annually will be applied towards program donations as well. So we can safely say that the building is being paid for with private giving and donations or other program income sources. So that's pretty exciting for us to be able to do that. And then just finally want to just talk about some of the savings that the project has actually, that we will realize as a result of the project. The primary one, of course, was the transportation between Wautoma to Hancock and back every day. And that was the money that we said we would use to pay back the loan to the county. And we won't need the full amount that we expected. And so even with that, right away this year, we'll have about a $2,400 savings in what we would otherwise have spent in transportation to and from Hancock. If the building does get paid off in full at some point, we'll save up to $10,000 annually with that item. And then switching from electric to gas, we estimate that we'll save an additional $3,000 annually. We did make a decision to go ahead and put our own washer and dryer into the kitchen and the mechanical room. And with that, we terminated our contract for laundry service, and that will save us over $4,000 a year just in that expense. Some other miscellaneous expenses, another $1,000 a year, and we're at right there just over $10,000, $10,600. Some of those cuts have already been made to the budget in the 2012 budget, and then I anticipate some additional ones for 2013. One of the areas that I'll look at next will be some of the administrative processes that we should be able to make more efficient now once we're centrally located, and I estimate at least a $5,000 savings there. So even at $15,000 as a minimum in savings, over 40 years we save $624,000, but I really feel that we'll have more than that when we start looking at all of the efficiencies. And so over a 40, 50-year period of time, we'll save about at least $1 million, and I think that's pretty significant. So I thank you for your support and your trust in us and the participants that utilize the service. Thank you as well. And I guess if you have any questions, I'll take questions. Otherwise, 11:30, February 8th. It's on a Wednesday. But like I said, if you can't make that, you're welcome to come anytime. Take a look around. So, okay.
Well,
Thank you.
Deb. Brilliant. Now we got consideration and possible action on the following resolution and ordinances.
Resolution 1112 regarding the dedicated work and contributions of Beverly Day to the residents of Waushara County and the Department of Human Services.
Motion by Fred Gellerup,
I'll second the motion.
second by Mrs. Krantz. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Resolution 2-1-12 regarding the dedicated work and contributions of Cheryl Berglund to the residents of Waushara County and the Department of Human Services. Approved.
Motion by Donna Colada. Second,
I'll second the motion.
Dennis Weddy. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Resolution 3-1-12 regarding the dedicated work and contributions of Marcia Chakowski to the residents of Waushara County and the Public Health Department.
Motion by Everett Eckstein,
I'll second the motion as well.
second by Dennis Weddy. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.
Ordinance number 540, ordinance amending Waushara County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58 Waushara County Code, zone change, Peggy Holcomb, Town of Springwater.
We have a motion by Kirschner, with second by Larry Crawford. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. We have one appointment tonight. Harold Mankowski, Watoma, for the Veteran Service Commission. Motion on that?
Motion to approve.
By,
I would second that motion.
second by Fred Gellerup. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved. Any suggestions for future items on the county board? Motion by Everett, adjourn.
I would second that motion.
Second by Fred Gellerup. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's been approved.